Today, the UK high street is filled with Greggs, Pret, McDonald's, and KFC. But if you grew up in Britain in the 80s and 90s, you'll remember a very different fast food scene. There were colourful chains that promised more than just a meal. They promised an experience. Some became legends, others vanished overnight. But here's the question: how many of these forgotten fast food chains do you still remember? Stick around, because the last one I'll reveal had such a bizarre story behind its closure. Most people never knew the truth. Wimpy actually began back in the 1950s, long before McDonald's reached the UK. By the 1980s, it was the place to go for a dine-in fast food experience. Picture this: red vinyl booths, plastic trays, waitresses bringing food to your table, ketchup bottles standing proudly. The bender in a bun, a curled frankfurter cut open and served in a bun, is burned into the memory of many 80s kids. Wimpy's menu felt slightly more British than McDonald's. Fry-ups, toasted sandwiches, and even Knickerbocker glory desserts. But when McDonald's stormed into the UK with its speedy counter service and modern branding, Wimpy started looking old-fashioned. Many locations were converted into Burger Kings, and by the late 90s, Wimpy had nearly vanished. A few stubborn branches still exist today, but for most of us, Wimpy is a ghost of childhood. All right, UK crew, who remembers the bender in a bun? Be honest, did you love it or hate it? If you grew up in the 90s, especially in city centres, you saw Dixy Chicken on nearly every corner. Founded in Birmingham in the 1980s, it marketed itself as a cheaper, spicier alternative to KFC. The shops had neon signs, colourful menus, and that unforgettable smell of fried chicken that clung to your clothes after a night out. For many teenagers, Dixy was the post-school hangout. You could grab wings, fries, and a drink for just a couple of quid. Unlike KFC, Dixy's menu felt tailored to local tastes: spicier chicken, halal-friendly options, and bigger portions. But expansion was messy, franchises varied in quality, and by the 2000s, the chain started fading from major high streets. Today, a handful still survive, mostly in student-heavy areas, but the glory days are gone. In the 1980s and early 90s, Pizzaland was a serious competitor to Pizza Hut. The chain's claim to fame was its unforgettable promotion: pizza for a penny. You'd buy one pizza at full price and get the second for just a penny. Families absolutely loved it, and Friday nights often meant a Pizzaland dinner. The restaurants had a cozy, slightly dark atmosphere: patterned carpets, wooden booths, and servers bringing out hot deep dish pies. Their pizza was thicker and heavier than today's Domino's style. Proper sit-down-with-the-family meals. But as Domino's entered the UK and Pizza Hut modernized, Pizzaland couldn't keep up. By the mid-90s, many stores had closed, and by the 2000s, the brand was essentially extinct. Fish and chips are as British as it gets, but Harry Ramsden's tried to make them luxurious. The original location in Guiseley, Yorkshire, opened in 1928, became a chain in the 1980s, and by the 90s, it was expanding fast. These weren't your average chippies. Harry Ramsden's restaurants had chandeliers, patterned carpets, and a grand seaside feel. Families would queue up during the school holidays, and a trip to Harry Ramsden's felt like an event. They were famous for massive portions. You'd leave with enough chips to feed the whole family. In the 1990s, Harry Ramsden's was a national symbol of British food, but the brand grew too quickly. Competition from McDonald's, Burger King, and even traditional local chippies ate into their business. Many branches closed, though a few remain today, but they're nowhere near as iconic as they were in their heyday. If you grew up in the 90s, birthday parties at Deep Pan Pizza were almost a rite of passage. The chain's big draw, the all-you-can-eat buffet. For a fixed price, you could eat endless deep crust slices, pasta, and salad bar. Kids would pile their plates sky high, and parents loved the value. The restaurants were loud, colourful, and packed with families on weekends. But the economics didn't work. All you can eat wasn't sustainable, and Domino's plus Pizza Hut slowly took over the pizza scene. By the late 90s and early 2000s, deep pan pizza disappeared. Today, it lives on only in memories and in a few faded photos from birthday parties. If you walk down a UK high street in the 80s or 90s, you probably spotted Jenny's. At first glance, it looked familiar. Red and yellow branding, a clownish mascot, a menu with Big Mac-style burgers and fries. Jenny's was, to put it bluntly, a McDonald's copycat. But for towns without a McDonald's, Jenny's was the place to be. It had its own loyal fans, people who swear Jenny's burgers tasted better than McDonald's. And unlike McDonald's, Jenny's often opened late, making it a favorite for late-night snacks after pubs and clubs. If this trip down memory lane made you hungry or nostalgic, then do me a favor. Hit the like button, subscribe for more UK 80s and 90s throwbacks, and share this video with a mate who used to love Wimpy, Pizzaland, or Deep Pan Pizza. Now I want to hear from you. Which forgotten fast food chain do you miss the most? Drop your memories in the comments. I'll be reading every single one.